Hello everybody and welcome back to Grand Bazaar. It is the 23rd of winter today, and tomorrow is the Starry Night Festival. But I'm doing a video today because this is sort of a two-step sort of event. We have to actually ask our date that we choose to go out with us today, so that they have some time to prepare for tomorrow evening. So I'm gonna go over just a few things in regard to asking people to spend some time with us tomorrow, and just going over a few things that I think are worth mentioning. This is when it comes in handy to have been socializing with people and to have knowledge about their schedule and their whereabouts and whatnot, because certain villagers are going to be a little bit more difficult to find in order to ask than others. You can ask a date to go to the festival with you tomorrow in between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. But certain villagers like Freya and Ivan will leave the city to go to work, and so you have to catch them on their way out of the city because they come back after 5 p.m. And Wednesdays also happen to be the only day of the week that Daisy leaves Zephyrtown. She goes out to the city to visit with her family. So if you just think, okay, I have all day to find a date, and you have someone specific in mind, I would recommend figuring out their schedule if you can, because it being on a Wednesday actually kind of throws us off of a few people's normal routines, like Daisy, for example. I'm gonna catch Freya on her way to work. I think that's who I'm gonna ask to actually go with me to the festival. I went ahead and I recorded everybody else's event except for hers because I figured that we would just showcase that in the video, so I haven't seen hers yet. I think she could use the most help in terms of affection, and I think Freya's also probably my favorite. So if somebody has a blue heart color, and you talk to them in between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. on the 23rd, you can ask them to be your date. And if you accept, they'll tell you when and where to meet them. It will always be at 8 p.m. and the location differs depending on who you ask to go with you. And the three locations are the hotel, the cafe, and the mayor's house. So the only female candidate I would really be keeping an eye on would be Daisy, just because she leaves town very early and it's not her usual schedule. Freya, if you've been watching her coming and going for quite some time, you'll know that she leaves to go to work around this time, the same time every single day, but you still want to try and catch her early. Finding Antoinette and Sherry should be fairly easy because they will stay in town. And then if you're playing as a female farmer, your options are somewhat limited. Again, we can see that Ivan leaves the city with Freya, so you'll want to catch him kind of early if you're able to. Being that we only just met and unlocked a mirror, it is impossible to be able to go with him because I think it's virtually impossible to work up a blue heart level in less than a month's time. Dirk and Angelo will both stay in town, so they should be fairly easy to hunt down with no problems. And I've done some testing with this, and unfortunately, it seems that Lloyd is the only candidate who is 100% not available for this festival if the 23rd happens to be a Wednesday. If you've befriended Lloyd and you've gotten to know him and you've been giving him gifts and whatnot, you might notice that he's impossible to find on Wednesdays, and that is because he is completely gone from the picture on Wednesdays. He is gone right from the minute you wake up until the minute you go to bed. The rationale is that Wednesdays are his days of the week where he goes and he travels to find things to sell at the bazaar. So he is actually just completely gone. You cannot talk to him, you cannot give him gifts, and so it is impossible to ask him to be your date for the festival. And I honestly think that that's kind of crappy because it completely locks you out of one marriage candidate altogether for a unique romantic event. I'm sure that this festival will not always land on a Wednesday. I think it just so happens to be that way for the first year, but it is somewhat disappointing, especially because I found Lloyd's present selection to be a little bit more challenging than some of the other bachelors, and so I feel like he could have really used a little bit of a boost, you know? So I've just gone to bed, and we're going to, at some point, just cut to when it's time to meet Freya at the cafe. So once you've asked your date, they've told you the date and time, on the 24th when you wake up, the game will just once again remind you, hey, you have this date, make sure that you go and you meet with your date. And so the day leading up to the festival is just like any other day. You'll want to make sure to do all of your regular activities, feed your animals, take care of anything you have going on the farm, because you will automatically be sent to bed once the festival ends. Now, being that we have to wait until 8 p.m., we have lots of time in the day to go about achieving anything that we need to do. Definitely not a problem just to have a regular day with a little event at the end of it. Wherever your date location is will be blocked off until the event starts. So for example, you can see that I'm not able to go into the cafe. I wouldn't really be able to go in there anyways because Thursdays is when the cafe happens to be closed, but I would still be allowed in the building to talk to Marion and Joan. So you won't be able to get into either the cafe, the hotel, or the mayor's house, depending on where you're meeting your date. And your date will also be unavailable all day, which means that you can't give them a gift. So in my case, you can see here that I cannot go inside of Freya's house at all. She is unavailable until I get to meet her later on tonight. And because it is a festival day, all of the villagers will stay inside and be inside their homes. It's almost like how it is on Bazaar Day, because they tend to do that on Bazaar Day. They won't just be all wandering around town. Everybody, except for people who have stalls at the bazaar, will be in their homes, easy to find, and able to be chatted to, and you can go out and give gifts. So it's kind of a nice little socializing day. I'm just going through a few houses just to show you an example. You can see that everybody's home. And I think I've pretty much, at this point, gone over all of the important parts about this festival. Now, the events are all very, very short, and because this video isn't going to be all that long, I'm going to have my date with Freya, and then we will tack on the other remaining dates onto the end so that everybody can see them all in one place. I'm going to load up a save that I have around 8 p.m. at night, and we will go and meet up with Freya for our date. So here we are. I'm just waiting outside of the cafe right now for it to turn over to 8 p.m. And you definitely don't have to be here right at 8 p.m. sharp. You actually have right up until 11:59 p.m. to meet with your date. That is the event time period. So if you are still doing things late into the night, if you are still fishing, or you have something else that you want to take care of, don't worry. You can be here very, very late and still get credit for taking part in this event. But I've done everything that I want to do today. You can see that I have 0 stamina left. So let's just go ahead and have a nice night with Freya. Looks like everyone's here. We made plenty of food, so eat up. Oh, wow, that was it? Freya didn't even talk to us. She didn't even say a word. Wow. Thank you for coming today. It was really fun. We should do it again next year. Now, these events are short, but I feel like hers was the shortest of all. I hope I'll see you again tomorrow. Yeah, well, it was nice, I guess. You will get 1,000 friend points with the candidate of your choosing. So you'll get a nice serving of friendship points to help you along. And anybody who is in attendance at the festival, you'll also get 500 friend points with. So in my case, I also earned some friendship with Joan, Marion, Dirk, and Ivan, which is quite nice. If you are a male farmer, you will walk your date home. And if you're a female farmer, your date will walk you home. They'll take you back to the farmhouse. So there are a few differences between all of the events depending on where it's held, what farmer you're playing as, and a little bit of dialogue differences between all of the different candidates. But all of the events are very, very short. And then as soon as you get home, the game will force you to go to bed, which is why I said to get everything done before you make your way and meet your date, because you won't have another opportunity to do anything else for the day. And then we will be just carrying on as usual from this point on. The bazaar gets pushed back a day this week because it is Amir's birthday tomorrow. So I'm going to play for a few more days, and then we will have our final bazaar of the year upcoming very, very shortly. But in the meantime, I hope that you can enjoy the remainder of the Starry Night festivals, which I am going to put at the end of this video for all of our bachelorettes. And depending on the video length, and if I remember, I may even throw in some of the bachelor's events as well. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.